Morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well today. I'm drinking my last cup of coffee, then I'm going to put Tashir back up, let the back chickens out, and then I'm heading out to the store to do an in-store shop. There's a lot of um, evil coming from the MAGA side regarding this Kirk assassination. They continue to say they're going to get revenge. They want a civil war. Um, they're blaming they. It was a he. It was a one person. When someone says they have drawn first blood, they have decided they want a war, they, it's annoying because it was one person, one person's actions. We don't even know why. One man, not Democrats, not liberals, not progressives, not the trans community, not one person did this. And you're wanting to blame all of us. When the Minnesotans were shot, two dead, two survived, and they murdered the dog. Well, Christina murdered her dog as well, but the mentality of MAGA saying that because, number one, maybe we detested Kirk, that we wanted him dead. I've never ever wished death upon anybody. Ever. I think. No, I've never wished death upon anybody. You know, you have to go back to hypocrisy on this. I don't know any Democrat, liberal, progressive, or anybody that said that MAGA was starting a war when one guy shot the four people in Minnesota, two died, two survived. I, I've never heard that. I never heard anybody on the left, the radical left that everybody tends to talk about, according to our criminal king, say that it was MAGA starting a war. I believe that this cult of MAGA is so indoctrinated as far as the white Christian nationalist movement that they want a war. You know, a lot of people think that I'm MAGA because I'm a prepper. Not so. Um, I I don't have the ideology of the rapture prepper. I don't. I'm not a white Christian nationalist. I'm not MAGA. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I am probably more progressive, liberal than a centrist. Because I believe that all of the rights that we have attained in our country are important as a society. You know, I absolutely am disgusted how MAGA has done this ICE situation, treating humans less than animals, um, with this deportation without due process. I am a true patriot to the Constitution. I am not a patriot to a criminal king and a regime. And I'm so I'm so encouraged to tell people you need to understand MAGA is ready for a war. They think that they're fighting some sort of battle here. They think we're evil, that we are spawns of Satan. But they don't understand how hypocritical that is when their actions actually do harm others or doesn't protect our citizens. I am truly afraid for protesters at this time, whether from the regime or from MAGA radicals. These people are armed to the teeth. I mean, that's what they do. I am absolutely, I fear for people that are protesting and speaking out. I want you to understand it's because I care. But I am very scared. I think that this MAGA movement, who is saying that we want a civil war, who is actually making the first step into a civil war, blaming they for one man's action when it comes to Kirk's assassination, is extremely dangerous. This is why I tell you to prepare for whatever may come. Fill your pantries. If you think that you need defense, do that. If you need to learn some self-defense, do that. Um, I, it's going to get bad. It's going to get worse, and I'm predicting this because I'm watching the tensions rise. I'm watching the anger come from the MAGA side, and it is dangerous. There was a man who did a video, and it was talking about the 40,000 or 400,000 guns in America, and most of them are owned by MAGA. And to me, that was a threat to maybe unarmed protesters, unarmed people who just want what's right for everybody in this country. But this country is not the same. Those who claim they were patriots to the Constitution are not, and they're fine with your rights being taken away. They're fine with going forward with violence. I don't know any Democrat, liberal, progressive, whatever, calling for war. I don't agree with cheering for Kirk's death. I do not agree with that. But to me, when I know his ideology was that black people were not as smart as white people, he wouldn't fly on a plane if there was a black woman pilot. Why? Racism. Why didn't he want women to vote? Because then that would put the white man in the majority without women, right? Because they say women are so emotional that they vote according to emotions. Maybe we vote for rights of others. So, to all of you MAGA out there who say, well, that was the first step to war, why? Why are you saying that? It was the action of one person. So, I would say that you, MAGA, are the ones who want war. You want to practice everything you've been pretending for so long. And the only thing I can say to my fellow Democrats, liberals, progressives, prepare yourself. Watch what you do. You know, I have mentioned this before that I receive death threats. And What am I going to do? I will never stop speaking out against the MAGA movement, the cult, and those who support taking away rights, liberties from anyone in this country. The unconstitutional behavior that these patriots pretend to have. MAGA has become a very dangerous cult. And our criminal king is pumping up the volume, the heat underneath this pot. He's cranking up the heat. He's cranking up the dissension. And to my fellows, my fellers, my gals, prepare. Because they are prepared. And I'm terrified about this. There's not one thing that Kirk talked about that I agreed with, ever. But I never, ever wanted to see anyone assassinated. But if you come for me, good luck. I'm not going to surrender to you. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to be traumatized. I will stand my ground, my beliefs. You know, I watched a MAGA influencer this morning, and they called Kirk a martyr. They've made him into a martyr. And so they want to fight for that martyr, for their cause, for their religion, for their spiritual warfare. Do you really think that God has a hand on Trump's shoulder? Do you really? Because I can tell you that from what I learned through religion, that there's no way that Jesus or God would have anything for Trump. You know, Trump says he wants to go to heaven. Good luck, brother. Good luck. Because we know what you have done. We accept the facts of our criminal king. They think that the assassination by one person is from a whole group. They laughed, they've clapped over Pelosi's husband being beaten in the head with a hammer, for Democrats being gunned down in Minnesota. But they never speak of the children slaughtered in schools, do they? Never. Never, never, never. Wouldn't you think that would be a spiritual warfare, since children are our future, since children are the innocent? No. They want to rally around Kirk's assassination as the beginning of a war. It's disturbing. Be prepared. Because we don't know what's going to happen at this point. If you are a protester, please be careful. Keep your head on a swivel. Just saying. Y'all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. And I'm getting ready to go grocery shopping. Retail therapy, right? Shoot. Bye, y'all. Hugs from a distance as I choke.